this marks the first. This will be the first time we're camping in Ogre with electrical hookups. Normally we camp, you know, just unestablished campgrounds, dispersed camping if you will, and we don't have hookups or anything like that. And so we just kind of camp wherever. Now we have stayed at some other established campgrounds, but without electricity. So this will be the first time actually using it. Kind of fun. It's very overcast today, and it's supposed to be rainy tomorrow as well. Our battery's at about 60%, and we need to get some work done. So we figured, you know what, why don't we just go into the national park, get a cheaper campground. They're doing 25% off, and they're also doing free entry into the national parks right now, which is really cool. First thing I'm going to do is look at the electrical box. Looks like we've got a 20 amp outlet and a 30 amp outlet. I'm gonna go ahead and bump it up to 15. And that's good to go. I'm not gonna plug it in. Okay, I have my little cord here, and you can see I'm just using a regular extension cord. This is the reason that I only put a 15 amp outlet on the RV. Now, or the camper van, I should say. Now you're probably thinking, yeah, but you can only use 15 amps of power. And that's sort of true. We actually have a Victron hybrid inverter. So it's an inverter and a charger in one. This 15 amps will run the charger portion, you know, at full tilt. You can say we need to use some of this 15 amps coming into the camper van because we're using our laptops or the fridge is on or something like that. It will simply derate the charging. So yes, it will take longer to charge if we're consuming power inside, but we're gonna be at this campsite overnight anyways. We'll still be able to get a full charge before we leave the next morning. Also, since it's a hybrid charger, we can pull 15 amps from shore, and then it can boost 20 amps by itself because it can do 2400 watts continuous. You know, we want to use the electric kettle on top of using the induction cooktop. Well, the cord coming in, or the power coming in, the 15 amps will basically power the kettle, and then the inverter will swap to inverter mode to use the batteries to power the induction cooktop. So we can actually still have 30 amps of usable power, but I don't have to carry that 10 gauge bigger 30 amp cord. I don't have to worry about a bunch of adapters and all that stuff. I can typically just plug into a regular outlet on the side of the wall and still be able to use my entire camper van inside. So this is one of the small things that just comes with experience of building solar systems. Good morning from Fundy National Park. Just taking a moment here in some of their iconic red chairs to enjoy the morning view along with my coffee. Time to unplug. Okay, that's done. It's funny is we came yesterday and plugged in because it was really bad weather yesterday, just all day, just very cloudy, and we knew we weren't going to be a lot of driving because we wanted to get some work done on the laptops, so no DC charging available. And so we got the campsite, and we got one again for tonight because we were going to be in the campground all day. We wanted to be able to take a shower, or in the national park all day, and we want to take a shower later. And then also it was supposed to be like an inclement weather day. It is beautiful. So the coolant and the oil was about 58 degrees when I started it up. So that's a good indicator of about kind of what the low was last night, which it was chilly. It was very nice, especially for camping. But gonna let the van warm up, and then I think our first stop is along a different lake, not this one, and some geocaches. So we're gonna get in some hiking today and some geocaching as well. This campground is very small, and it only had electric hookups, but there were porta potties very close by, and there's also drinking water here, which is nice, so you can fill up your tanks. But there's no dump station here, no showers, and no like flushing toilets. But there's just a quick walk over to the visitor center nearby, and those restrooms were open all night long. So real flushing toilets and sinks over there. Yeah, kind of like a not primitive, but somewhere in between. And tonight's campground, I think, has everything, even washer and dryers. So we didn't go too far out. We just walked along the first lake. It does go much further, including some backcountry camping, which is pretty cool, which you need a permit for, but that would be beautiful. I'll say when you're close to the entrance, you know, it's right near the visitor center, like near the western entrance, and so the road noise is a little louder and it gets carried over the lake, but it's still really pretty, and the frogs are really cool. There is a geocache here that gives more information about the frogs, so if you're in a geocaching, make sure you stop. And if you got some kids, make sure you stop. It's cool because there's little small tadpoles, and there's bigger ones, and ones that have legs, and they're slowly growing into adults. Pretty cool. Now we're doing Laverty Falls, another waterfall hike. This one's only 2.2 kilometers. Judging the people coming back, looks like people are swimming down there. In the last video, I mentioned I wondered if it was going to be more busy here in the national park versus the provincial park that we were in. And the answer is absolutely. This parking lot alone is probably more vehicles than we've seen in all the other parking lots combined, the last place. You can hear the water. And the only downfall to this hike is it was all downhill getting here, which means it's all uphill on the way back. We passed probably 25 people on the way down and probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 dogs. And then when we got down there were about 25 people because I counted. And then honestly, they kind of came and went. So you'd have one family kind of leave, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 people, and then another little group would come in and kind of take their place. And so there's plenty of space for people down there, and everybody kind of took turns getting in the water because it's cold. Everybody wants to get their picture of the waterfall, but it's cold and people don't tend to stay in too long. So even if someone's in there when you get there, just wait, and I'm sure it will come free for you. So we finished Laverty Falls, and now we're at Laverty Lake. Check this out. That is the Parks Canada logo, and these chairs are made out of recycled plastic, and they're, you know, found throughout the different Canadian parks. And the whole premise behind them is to kind of enjoy the moment, to stop and just enjoy the moment. So they have kind of cool views. And they're not always on the maps or anything. They're kind of like a little, you got to find them and then you enjoy them.
Like a Parks Canada geocache.
We didn't think we were going to do this hike because we thought this road might be a little too low for Ogre with low branches, but it wasn't. Anyways, we'd already changed out of my hiking shoes, so hiking in flip-flops, just like a Florida boy. So we hiked out alongside this lake, which was full of frogs. So we got some cool pictures of that, which is cool because we've seen the tadpoles earlier, and now we've seen more frogs. But we came out here so we can get this other geocache, which is also managed by Parks Canada, which is cool. And it also had more information about the frogs. One of the cool things that we learned is that essentially frogs are kind of one of the first things to be impacted. So if there's something going wrong with, you know, like the health of the environment out here or nature, frogs would be one of the first indicators, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we're not gonna believe this. We have electricity and water. We're fancy. We stayed at Chignecto Campground for our second night, which was nice. A lot more busy, but it did have, you know, showers and laundry and all that good stuff. And it had full hookups, well, electric and water, but there was a dump station as well. And then yesterday we actually decided just to work. So we went over, parked at the beach, pretty much worked all day, grabbed some lunch in town in Alma, which is a cute little town. And then we stayed at a little free campsite right along the beach and came back into the national park today. So this is, I guess, our third day in the national park, but really only our second day exploring in the park itself. And we're starting out with Matthews Head hike. So this is about 3 miles. I think it's like 4.4 kilometers or something. And it's a big loop. Should go along the Bay of Fundy. And looking forward to it. We're currently about 45 minutes after high tide, and I gotta say it's really pretty. It's pretty at low tide, and it's also pretty at high tide. So I would suggest when you're checking out the Bay of Fundy to make sure you're looking at the tide charts. They have them right when you come in the visitor center, and of course you can look at them online as well. But look at the tide charts and make sure you're getting a low tide experience and a high tide experience, because it looks vastly different. Check this out. Look what we found.
What? Red chairs?
We're about halfway in now, and it has been a beautiful hike, especially once we got along the coastline here. It's just gorgeous off the cliffs. And of course, all the birds are so pretty to listen to. And it smells amazing. We found some more. What a great view. Well, we made it back. That was just an out and back, very short trail. But essentially that wraps up our time here in Fundy National Park. Definitely a beautiful spot. And if you're coming over to the east side of Canada, I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching. You can do us a favor and leave us a comment. It really helps out. Don't forget to like the video, share it somewhere if you want to. That'd be great. And we'll see you next time.